Morning, Monday morning. Are we ready? Of course we are. Well, it's Monday morning and we're due to finish a job today. We've got to get that completed. We won't get it all completed, but we're making progress. We're heading in the right direction. We've got the grating to do. We've got 2 pillar caps to put on. We've got the grouting to do with the patio, but there's no way that we're going to be doing it with the patio like it is, because it's just absolutely soaking wet, and you just got to have all the joints to be dried. Yeah, still a few things to do. So this is the paving for the next job. Silverwood, Grigio. We've just picked it up from Cardiff Mandarin Stone, and we've had to go and collect it because they're shutting down for a week, so we've got to make sure it's here. So Ryan's bought his van with a pack in, and we got this will see us through. There it is, have a look. Plank, very nice. When he messed around. It's me, it's Johnny Boy. We're back again. We're on a new project, and the one thing that's just come to mind. We're here with Ryan, the 2 Ryans, but we call him Reese, and we've all got our green top landscapes top on, and we're all looking good. But Ryan picked up the wrong top last night, and he picked up the one that wasn't ironed. That's what he tells us. Anyway, here we are. We've got the skip here. We've got the boards on the drive. This is Mr. Bardsley's job. Mr. Bardsley, cracking guy. We're with Barry. Come and have a look now. Reasonable access, new fence. We've got to watch the fence going in and out. Here we are. This is Barry's job. This is the existing patio. Okay, we've got snow over here. We've got 2 wraparounds here. Okay, and you see it's the old concrete slabs, and they've got the old block paving as a pattern. But we're going to be using porcelain on here, and we've got a contrasting edge as well. We're going to be putting in, but if you look here, we're going to be doing something with this wall as well for Barry, and that wall as well, I believe. So there we are. Have a quick look round, see what you actually think of it. We've got to move some stuff around. We'll go down the side bit there. Nice and clean, yeah. Got some trampoline things going on, some of the kids play things going on in the garden, but that's absolutely fine, no problem at all. So let's watch how and see how it turns out. Right, what have we got here? We're taking the slabs up now. We're just removing the slabs. What do we have here? What is this contraption?
Well, that looks like a bit of down pipe going straight into the water pipe. And
can you expose that a little bit there? See what we got there. And we're not ripping into people's work, but
no,
you've got a slab on top of a pipe there, haven't you?
Yeah, and literally that is resting. I mean, look there, it is resting right on top.
Well, that's not good, is it?
No.
Whatever possesses them to do it, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, but I mean, just a little hole knocked out the side there.
Funny one, isn't it?
It's the first one I've seen like that, yeah.
Well, it's unique, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
Like a Van Gogh. A cock-up.
A complete cock-up, yeah.
What we can see here is the evidence of the water, and we haven't had a lot of rain lately, have we? So this is why we have to put an effective drainage system in place. So what we talk about, an effective drainage system, Ryan, is basically you get the water away, because what happens is as soon as you start putting a patio in, as you know, you start pushing the volume of where the water could have went before. And so we have to, so all the water that's falling on this surface area, it has to collate somewhere. They've got an existing eco drainage system. And what you always find is when you have that initial downpour of rain, it's whether that eco drainage system can accommodate the amount of water that's flowing off the surface. So what we want in theory is we want the drain to go that way and we want it to run this way over here. So if we look at that now, there we are. So we've got a drainage system which is probably about 15 meters long, and what we want to try and do, we want the water to run that way and we want it to run over left and right basically. So in order to do that, we need a point to run it to. But we'll find it and we'll deal with it. Hopefully, what we have got here, there is 3 downpipes, 3 connections. We've got one there, here, and over in that corner there. So hopefully, we're going to be able to connect into the surface water to allow the water to run away. There's nowhere at all in this garden where we can actually put a soak away because of the retaining wall. And we know beyond that side, there's a hill over there and they get a lot of water coming down when they have that downpour of rain. So really what you've got to do. So what I was saying, what really the best way to deal with any water is that source.
Yeah.
So what Barry has said to us, that they have a lot of water coming into this garden with that retaining wall there. And the best thing you can do is really make a simple bund, and the bund is like a pile of earth. And sometimes you can put damp membranes in the bund to stop the water transiting through the bund itself. So does that make sense? Right, a lot of talking going on here, but it's so important that we take stock of where we've been. We've been working for Russ and Sharon, and what have they been like?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And we know Barry's going to be good here.
Yeah.
But Russ was really funny, Sharon was really nice, and total 100% respect for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, not that you wouldn't have for your client base. Well, with some. Anyway, but they were really good, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were really good. So, and we're going to maintain the status quo from that job onto here. Now, let's just point out, we haven't quite finished, have we?
No. We still have the grouting to do and a little bit of painting, don't we?
Yeah, and we don't want to take a chance with the grouting because we could have inclement weather conditions.
Alright, John, we're on Barry's job now. Obviously we've just lifted the slabs, the old slabs up, and you want to tell everybody what we're doing next?
Well, what we've got here is, I suppose, it's a classic lift and a relay of a new patio. We had a mix of concrete slabs that was around probably in the early 90s, and then we've got these Driveline 50 bricks. They've mixed them up. I'm not quite sure what was going on. They got some add-ons. We've got a bit of an eco drainage system here, and it's all a bit of a mess, to be honest. So Barry's asked us to do a new patio and in Porcelain. I'm going to try and remember what we have to do now. Porcelain planks. They're from Cardiff Slate and Stone. It's called the silver. I can't remember what it's called now. If Ryan wants to go and get one around the front, we'll show you now in a sec. There is a name on the side. So they're porcelain planks. We're going to have a charcoal edge going all the way around, and that's going to be interesting because I'm not going to do the mitre like we normally do it. I'm going to try something a little bit different, which I'll show you later on. So
yeah, and what about the ground? So prep wise, you think we can use much of this, or we're going
yeah, I think there's a massive argument for recycling product now, and not sending it on the road in skips and everything. There's some good clean chippings in there. One thing that we've got to make sure in this case, the only evidence I can see is there is a little bit of weedy root systems in there which we'll pull out, and there is some worm cast activity. So there's been some worms that have been at work underneath these slabs. They've only been laid on chip-ins, and if you look around the house there, you'll see that was the original lay where the builder's probably done it, where it was laid on a screed. So if Ryan wants to bring me this over here now. So what we have here, this is from Cardiff Slate and Stone. It's a porcelain plank.
Just tilt it down so everyone
Yeah,
can see.
I'll lift it up. You can have a look. There's a porcelain plank. And what they've done, they've improved on this one, Ryan. Do you know, for the love of me, I can't even remember what this is called. Let's have a look on the side now. We'll go again on here now. we're back on air. So this is called the silver wood. They've changed it. They've improved this a little bit more now than what they had before. Ryan, over there, get the other one. That's the original one. Let me show you now. I didn't realise we had this around here now, and I'm going to put this. Let me just show you this now. If Ryan just places it over here, I'll be able to show you. So this is a silver wood, 1.2 by 300. This is the original one. It's standing up right, face on for our viewers to see, and I'll be able to hold it in place. Go on, lift it up to the bottom so you can come back on here, and then you can just stand out a shot there. There you are. Let me just show you now. I'll give you a shout in a minute. So there we are. There's a difference between this is the silver wood. This is they've just slightly changed the name now. This is like the Tiber wood, I think. But Cardiff Slate and Stone will put you right about it. If you look at this one, obviously this has been sat around for a while. This is what we call factory fresh. Okay, it's looking nice and clean, but you can see the finger marks on there. So Ryan, that's what I was saying about so important to seal your porcelain as well, because though the surface is very hard, almost like an eggshell, okay, and it's got very little porosity value, but what happens, things do get dirty. It's just like a piece of glass. You have to clean your glass. You've got micropores in your glass, so you've got to make sure that you have to clean windows, and it's the same with the porcelain. And remember, this is on the floor. But the most important thing, if you want to just take the set away from me now, Roy, the most important thing, what you've got to remember is that the grout system that we'll be using on here will have a 3mm gap, but we'll be using a slurry grout. And the slurry grout, what the slurry grout does, it gets down into the joint, fills up any little nooks and crannies that we've missed, because we're all not perfect. But it's the grout system that needs to be sealed as well, because it's the grout system that's going to go green, especially in the environment that we're living in. But going back to the slab, when you feel this slab, it's almost, have you seen that method show Sugi Ban, when you burn the wood and you brush it off and you can feel the grain? And that's what you have here, is that with this porcelain you can feel the grain, and also it's like the knots that you see, you can actually feel the texture on it. So, and a fantastic design principle of texture as well, which is really good. So this is the porcelain product we're going to be using. I'm going to keep coming up with some information now, because I want to tell you, we're going to be laying this at a diagonal. So when a client walks out from that conservatory, you'll be seeing the paving at a diagonal, and that will give an illusion of width, which we want in this garden. We want to make it to look bigger. And keep going with this. Porcelain, ask me some questions. Come on, let's get the information out. Things to consider. So important that when you're laying porcelain, try to avoid chipping it, because once it's compromised on those corners, that's why they have those little plastic blocks on the corner to protect the corners. So when we're laying, it's so important that we make sure that we don't chip the porcelain.
Well, what about the porcelain itself to consider? Like there's full bodied and then
yeah, you know, you get that there is many types in any manufacturing process. Things that you make, it's almost like composite decking. That there's good composites out there, and there's some bad composites because it's been produced really fast. You know, I'm not saying that the Indian, the Turkish, or the Polish are bad porcelain, or the German is bad porcelain, but the fact is the Italians and Spanish have been making this for a long time. It's second nature to them, and they tend to cook it probably a little bit longer. So this can be argued, you know. So when they cook with the porcelain, it's cooked at very high temperatures, and that's why it gives it that hard effect on there. And I think it will vary from one manufacturer to another manufacturer, but you're looking at probably 0.2% porosity value. So no water's going to be ingressed into there. But the thing you've got to remember, of course, is that at the edge of your patio, when you've put a new patio in, you're pushing all the water out. If you're doing it right and laying it on a lean mix, which I'll talk about in a moment, but you're pushing the water out to the edge, and you've got to make sure the water keeps on moving. Any water build up on the edge of your patio is so important, because you can imagine, let me just show you now, right, that patio laying like that, you've laid your patio, you're laying it on a mortar bed, right? We'll talk about mortar beds, but when the water holds on the end, what you get this ingression, okay, sort of side elevation ingression. It starts maneuvering across, right, and that's when you get the delamination of the paving, because the water goes wrong in a horizontal format, and then when it starts freezing and thawing, and ice can be really problematic. So you've got to make sure that you really slurry the backs of these slabs. And I'm going to say, I know you're dying to ask me a question, but when you're slurrying the backs of these slabs, it's so important, right? I don't care where you're from or where you're going, but you've got to chuck it on like cream cheese, like butter in a piece of bread. Years ago, when you put the butter on your bread, loads and loads of butter, and that's how you've got to think of this. You're making a sandwich, and you want it to adhere to your lean mix, because that's how I feel that porcelain should be laid. It should be laid on a lean mix, whatever thickness you do it at, but a lean mix is what you're doing. You're creating a rigid paving system.
Very good.
You can ask me some more if you like.
Yeah, so I was obviously going back to when you were talking about the porcelain and the Italian stuff. I guess that comes more into play when you're cutting it, doesn't it? Because
yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic point, because what you're finding is at the moment a lot of that's okay. What you'll find is there's a lot of guys out there at the moment, and girls as well, and landscapers and tilers. And tilers know their stuff when it comes to cutting porcelain. As you can imagine, they've been cutting it for a lot longer than any of us landscapers. We've been working with concrete and sandstone and granites and slate, but we haven't been working with porcelain. Porcelain and ceramic are two different things. What you've got to consider, if you haven't got full-bodied porcelain, when you're cutting through it, what will happen is you get a lot of tension with porcelain, and just when you think you're cutting it nice and straight, it can fool you, and it just crack off, and it'll crack off in a place where you want to keep it. So what I try and do, and what a lot of guys across the country will tell you who cut porcelain on a regular basis, is dropping it down from both ends and then cutting it parallel, working down nice and even all the way through. And then what it does, it takes the tension off. And if you're cutting into corners, sometimes it's good just to drill. And people think, my God, it's just more work. But the thing is, you're looking at a high-end quality product that's going to give the client some happiness and contentment for years and years to come. So if you're going to do a job, it's about doing it well, isn't it? It's about belts and braces and attention to detail.
This is quite unforgiving, isn't it? Like a mill stands out on this.
I tell you what, Ryan, I mean, sometimes, we shouldn't say that'll do, because we've all said it at some point, and whether you have,
No, I definitely have.
Yeah, well, there you go. And, when you're using this, look how straight it is. Look, when you look down that porcelain, it looks absolutely fantastic. Look at it. It's so straight, it's so clean. It's a clean cut, it's very contemporary. And obviously, when you're cutting down the face of it and you're a mill out, it does show up, literally a mill and a half. And remember, we're having a 3 mil joint with this, okay? And some people say that it's too thin, but I've known guys up north that are laying a 1.5 mil, a 1.5 mil joint, yeah. Absolutely.
I think though, from going off the last job we done, that 3 mil gap looks perfect.
I think so.
It looks.
But isn't it amazing when you're looking at that 3 mil gap? Because we're used to it now. It looks big, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we're talking 3 mil, and that's what I'm saying. It looks big, but it's not. Look, the other thing, of course, there's been lots of questions being asked lately on the YouTube channel, and I haven't been able to get back to you. I've been so busy, like everybody else. But every morning and every night time, I'm getting back and I am answering people's questions. If you want to give me a ring, it's a lot more easier to phone me up and ask me a question, as opposed to me typing it all out in the morning, 5 o'clock when I'm up. So my number is 07795 595 994. 07795 595 994. If you want to give me a ring, I can talk you through and help you through that process. Right, I got to say it is that people saying to me that I had somebody say that I was misleading people about putting a lean mix system down, okay, and it wasn't needed. But I beg to differ, I really do, because what you've got to remember is that if you create a rigid paving system, okay, a lean mix is roughly about 12 to 15 to 1, all right? Okay, it's not a strong mix, okay, but it will hold the main body together, all right? It will load, that's why we call it a rigid system. It'll hold the main body together. If you add a concrete mix, a wet pour mix, you're gonna have to put steel in there, then it becomes expensive. This is somewhere between using an MOT for sandstone and using a lean mix for porcelain. And what you'll find is that when you put your mortar on that lean mix, it's going to adhere better to it. And of course, when you've got your lean mix ready, your base is ready, you've got your falls on there, you know that you're precise. It's almost like creating a screed when you're screeding houses out, as we did years ago. But what you need to do, you need to put some SBR. Remember I talked about that, over the top. And what that's going to do is that lean mix isn't going to suck any moisture out of your mortar. The thing I was going to say is, I got asked the other day, is that what mixes do I use? People say that I've been using a wet mix, but yeah, I have been using a wet mix, but in the winter I tend to use a dry mix. Could I use a dry mix in this weather now? Yes, I could. Now, a dry mix is basically when you can grab your mortar and you can form a ball and it's going to stay together. That's the moisture that you want. You don't want any more than that. If you start adding more moisture to it, what happens is that when that evaporates, that's when sometimes paving delaminates, because you get rapid evaporation, okay, causing the slab to peel off basically under the surface, and that's when you get water ingressing in underneath the slab, and then that's when you get that delamination through the freeze-thaw effect. So important that you really understand what you should be laying on. I'm not going to put a lot of water in this mix. I probably, some people are using forced paddle mixers, and some people say that's getting a bit more complicated now, and it's just making it, and I sort of get that, but I won't be putting a lot of water in with this mix because you just don't need it, you know, especially in this area where you've got water out there. We don't want it to get any wetter than what is required. I hate sometimes missing out and not telling people some of the questions or questions that people are looking for, rather, and you tend to forget about when you're doing a video like this. It's not scripted, okay? We're not reading off a script, and we're not making up as we go along. This is tried and tested. Anything else? Anything else?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I got to say, okay, I'm looking forward to doing the picture frame on it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show people what we're actually doing.
Yeah, I think. No, I think we've covered most points really. I think what it will be next is showing it as we go along.
Little bits, bit by bit. But you know, if you want time lapse, we'll have a little bit of time lapse. Okay. Will I get the GoPro down? I probably won't, because I need 2 new batteries, and trying to get GoPro any batteries at the moment. There's a shortage of lithium around the world at the moment, and everybody's struggling for, even the car industry is struggling for certain things. So I could get the GoPro going. We could watch it in time lapse. We'll get a little bit of time lapse on the phone. We'll get some time lapse on the little Sony. Yeah, we got to show the drainage as well, aren't we, going in?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But you can show that coming up, how it's been installed, and then what we do.
It's so important, though, right, that whatever we do well, okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've got to remind me of that, like, you know, because I'm not going to cut any corners. We're going to take that out. We're going to find the drainage point over there, and all our water, though all the water's going to be running this way, we'll try and get. Hopefully, we've got the depth on the stormwater to try and pick up on a pipe going that way. We can do it. It's not a big deal. It's not a big issue. Well, look, that's it. If you, like I said, if you want to ask them any questions, give us a call on 077 95 595 994. We've done a video like this before, and I think it was at Ron and Margaret's. I don't know if was you on Ron and Margaret's, and we did a little video in the garden just like this, and it helped people. Look, just fire some questions over to me. Try and be nice, try and be respectful, and just remember that other people watch this channel, so you will be blocked if you start playing up. Don't do that. That's it. Is it home time?
Yeah, I think it was 10 minutes ago.
Well, okay, that's it. Give us a call, 077 95 595 994, or go to the website. You can have a look on there, www.greentoplandscapes.co.uk, or what you can actually do is you can just give us a like on the channel, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Be safe. You ask me a question. Come up and ask me a question.
Come up and ask you a question.
Yeah, say, right, what's the plan, John? Like that, like. Yeah, go on.
Right, Right, John, what's the plan today, mate?
Well, I'm a bit... That's what I was going to say. On this job here now, on the last job, we've had lots and lots of space. But on this job here, there's Barry, our
Hey, Barry.
I've known Barry for some time now, and we met in Sainsbury's many years ago.
We did, John.
Yeah, here we are. Anyway, thanks, Bazza. So, the last job where Russ and Sharon was, we had a lot of space there. It was a service yard. They had a lot of lorries down there. Now we've got a cul-de-sac here. And if you look over here, they're all having work done, but there is no parking outside in this cul-de-sac. You cannot park anywhere. So a lot of things to take in consideration. So we've got to be aware of how we're working and how we're moving about the property, ensuring that we don't make any mess outside. That's paramount, isn't it? You know, the last thing you want is cement water running down there. Everything's got to be done in roundabout, and we've got to just quarantine everything totally. So look at the space down here. Just have a look at the space. Just come down here. This is what we've got to deal with. Tight access. It's normal, you know. This is what we were spoilt, really, weren't we? Down Sharma
Yeah,
Russell's.
definitely.
Yeah, and so what we've got to think about. We've got 2 cars here. We've got porcelain around the front here. We've got it piled up here. It's stacked. It's neat. It's tidy. We've got the contrasting edges to what we're using here. But the thing is about it is it's all tight spaces. You know, doors can get scratched. So we have to think about what we're doing. It's so important because things can go downhill quite drastically, as you know. Coffee time.
John, obviously we're doing our lean mix, but for people that might not know, what sort of depth are we looking at for this lean mix?
Well, to be honest, right, it'll always depend on your substrate. Your substrate being your dig. If your dig's a bit dodgy, you need to put a stabilising fabric in there, like a Taram. Taram is a brand name, okay? But geotextile underlays, there are many out there, so you need to go on there and look for stabilisers, membrane stabilisers. And we've been using lean mixes for a long time. There's many benefits for using a. Do you know, I get so excited I start dribbling. No, seriously, there are many benefits of using a lean mix, and basically just go online, Google it. Don't just believe in what I'm saying. Just do your own work. Google it. Benefits of a lean mix. But what it does basically, it's not strong enough where it's going to crack, and you think that's a bit strange. But the thing is, if there was ground movement and you're laying porcelain, right, you could have you know what concrete does when you do a wet pour, it can fragment. That's why you've got to put steel in, and that's when it becomes expensive. But the beauty about using a lean mix, in my opinion, obviously, is that we've recycled the product on here. Look at it, there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely fine. Maybe a little bit stony, but we've got enough cement in there, right, you know. But we're recycling, we're not just taking stuff away and looking at skips. The slabs have gone into the skips. We've reduced the recycling process of it and the time of taking all those slabs out. So many benefits from it. But for me, it's when you put your mortar down to lay your slab on, it's going to adhere to the dry lean, the concrete. They call it concrete if you want. It's a weak mix, you know. So we've got roughly about 15-1 with this, and we're going to compact this with the compactor plate, go over it, but we'll leave it a little while. We'll prep another area, but already on here, the depth we've got here is probably about 6 to 7 inches. This is sub base, and we probably need it in here because they get a lot of water ingression into this garden.
It's a very quick process too, isn't it? I mean, we've done what, 3 ton in no time at all.
I think the thing is about using an MOT is that, and it's good for us to discuss this because, you know, it just reaffirms my understanding about it, is that what you've got is a sub base, and what you've got to imagine, if you add a compacted cube of sub base and a compacted cube of lean mix, and you put a hook in them, or an eye, a lifting eye, and went to lift them after, what would fall apart? And some people say, well, that's silly, but it's not. It's integrity, because what you get right with an MOT is that when you get water ingression, it's going to expand and it's going to fill up and work through. With this, the water can go through, not at such a rate as what it would with an MOT, but it's going to maintain its integrity.
Right, John, what do we got here then?
4-inch waste pipe, domestic waste pipe, and we've got some down pipe that they've used as a drain. And if you look, see, but they've mastic in between, and it's a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
And as well, where it was broke into, because it was just
connected to the
Yeah.
This end was going into
you
the
can just you can see it there where it was just seeping out. There's a big puddle of that.
To be honest, Roy, I don't think people want to see it.
Maybe not.
That's the way. MBW compactor blade. Let's turn that off. We'll have a copyright claim. It's all happening. So, what we've got here, we've recycled the sub base we had here because it was sand and chippings. And as you can see, we've made it into a lean mix or a dry lean, and it's absolutely solid. Tomorrow, I'm going to run the compactor plate over here, and I'm going to show you how I know it's succeeded, simply because the compactor plate will start bouncing because it'll be absolutely totally 100% firm. You'll see it tomorrow. So we leveled it off, we've got the enough fall on there. Now our pavement's going to end up literally 2 to 1, 2 below damp course, and we're going to run our porcelain paving away from the house. But now what it's allowed us to do, it's very tight for space down here around the front, but as I said, we've got the neighbours, they're all having work done down here, and it's just a nightmare to getting things in. So we'll get the ruby in, we'll put this in the corner here now, get it in tonight. We're going to be using the other ruby, the new one, the DC Expert, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get the rest of this shaped up. But you can see the water ingression into this garden, and that's in the summertime now. So we've got to think about how we're going to keep that water moving out and away from the property.